Hello guys, it's Sakuems. Welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, hello, my name is Emily. I'm a French artist and YouTuber. In this week's video, I'm going to do a cheap versus expensive. I've loved those series. There's a lot of YouTubers that are doing those, and I haven't really tried it myself. So I found that set in my grocery store. There were 89 euros, so that's $1 for a set of 12. And then I have picked the exact same shade in my polychromo range, which is the higher range from Faber-Castell, and those are usually retails around $2.85. That's what I found on DickBlick, and I pay around, I think I pay around €2 for one pencil. So one pencil is twice as expensive as the entire set of those. So I'm comparing $1 versus $30 of a set, and what I'm going to do is the exact same artwork twice with this sketch that I did on computer, and yeah, and I will comment everything. I'm going to start with the cheap pencils, and then we'll switch to high-end pencils, and yeah, hopefully you will like this video. So I started with the 12 pencil set, and before I even just mention what went wrong, I suppose, in my artwork, I just want to say that they are actually not that bad. And I think also with pencils, most of the time, even a cheap pencil type of product is quite decent, whereas if you compare watercolors or markers, there's a big difference. So I'm definitely going to do at least a cheap marker challenge type of video where I compare like high-end copic markers and a cheaper alternative. The technique that I have used is called layering. If you haven't used pencils first, it's pretty hard to use actually. I think pencils is one of the hardest techniques to master because you really have to layer and layer, build up the opacity, and then I overlay with a lighter shade, and then I come on top with that. And I've done a lot of colored pencil artwork back in the days, like a few years ago, when I was, I didn't have markers back then, and I wasn't really that good at watercolors. So I don't know when it was, almost 10 years ago, I was doing mainly colored pencil artwork. So I tried to find that technique back when I was working on this artwork, because it made it kind of hard for me to really build the shading, because I'm so used to having a base layer with my watercolors or my markers that I usually don't use that much pencil. So with that being said, because my paper was completely white, I had to press really hard to get anything. But for a set of $1, they are actually quite nice in terms of just the way they render, and the pigmentation is a lot better than what I was expecting. The only downside with cheap pencils is, firstly, a lot of the cheap pencils are not made with wood. The casing that holds the colored lead is not made out of wood. It's a plastic kind of knockoff, because I'm pretty sure that plastic is just a lot cheaper than actual like carving wood, and putting the lead inside it. So it is made out of plastic, which is one of the worst way to make a pencil. It's pretty hard. I use my Mitsubishi KH20 to sharpen them, and it's made for sharpening wood-based pencil, and I don't think there's a blade that can work the best with this kind of pencil. So if you are trying yourself to find a cheap, not a cheap, but a affordable type of range of pencil, try to at least get one that is made out of wood, because plastic is just not the best. Another downside that I've encountered is that the pigmentation, not the pigmentation, the way the lead feel is very fragile. It broke I don't know how many times. It also is very waxy based. It's almost like I was working with really fine crayons and not actual colored pencils. I basically did what I could do with the cheap pencil, and as you can tell, it looks kind of nice. This is just one little thing that I couldn't really do, is do details, because after a while I couldn't really lay more color on top. I think I managed to do like 2 to 3 layers, and then even if I was sharpening a black pencil, which I tried to use in the high-hand version to do details, on the cheap pencil version it wasn't possible to really just come on top and add more details. I couldn't really get a very fine line. So yeah, but overall, unless you really want to splurge on a $30 set, you don't need to get expensive pencils, because I was quite surprised that for a set of $1 you can actually do something kind of nice. And you will see in the end, like I did them like side by side, and there's not a big difference. So I spent about an hour on the cheap version, and it took me a bit more time because I didn't really thought about my color scheme. I was playing around with it. The struggle was the same with the high-end version, is that with 12 pencils it's pretty hard to blend colors. I really wanted to have some sort of light flesh tone, or a white, or a gray even, or light blue. Like I missed some lighter shade, so I tried to mimic the illusion by just doing a very thin layer, especially on the skin and on the shirt, just to add a bit of a flesh-like color, because I couldn't do any lighter shade. And so that is a good thing for the cheap pencil, is that because they don't have as much pigment, the end result is actually a lot more pastel looking, which I prefer, to be honest, because the other one that you're seeing right now with the high-end pencil, because they have a lot more pigment, it was also kind of hard for me to control the intensity of the pencil themselves. So both products have good and bad thing, I suppose, but I'm kind of biased because I love my polychromos, and I don't really recommend you try a $1 like set of pencil. But I really wanted to do this video because a lot of people seem to think that artists with like professional quality tool, the tools doesn't really make the artist. You can't do anything magical just because you have quality tool. However, they do have more room to improve, and you can do more things, and they're just really a long-lasting type of medium that you can really have fun with. Whereas a cheap pencil, they just have their own limits, and after a while you just don't really know how to use them, so you want to try something else. But you don't need a $30 set. My luminance pencil are very expensive. It's like €3 for one pencil. So yeah, you don't need that. The polychromos, they did really nicely. I mean, I knew that this was going to be a bit easier for me to layer them, to have a bit more details to them, because they're really sharp when I sharpen them. They're really pointy, and yeah, pretty much just really easy to do details with those. And I was able to get more contrast because I've layered, I think, about 4 or 5 layers on the hair especially. And with my basic shading on the cheap version, I couldn't layer the black on top or a dark brown. With that, with those pencils, you can add a lot more on top. And I don't think I've saturated the paper actually. I think I can do even more layers, but I will need just more colors for that. I usually just try to incorporate a lot of different hues, so I tried my best to keep the same technique and also to match the colors. My lighter green wasn't the same as the cheap pencil, so it was a little bit harder, and the purple wasn't the same, and the pink also wasn't exactly the same. So I tried to, to match as best as I could, but of course, just the only limit I had with the polychromos with the high-end pencil was that I just like a few colors, especially a white, for example. So, but that's about it. Of course, the rest of it was really fun to do. I really enjoyed working with the hair and the face and the details on the eyes and everything. I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm just really biased. It does look slightly more detailed. It does look sharper, but it's not like a huge difference. So basically, here are the artwork side by side. Like I said, you don't really see a huge difference, and I was really surprised because I really thought that the cheap pencil art will look really pale and just overall not be able to shade anything with that. And yeah, but no, actually they're pretty decent. Like, I could really highly recommend you try to get a set of, I don't know, not 12 but 24 pencil, around a range to like $1 each. You know, try to spend between $10 to $20, not much than that, and maybe get just a unique color like a dark brown or a black if you want from the polychrome range, just to add the details on top of the more cheaper version. Because like if I was using my like a darker shade on my cheap version of this character just to add more details, it will look pretty much the same. So combining tools would be a great way of saving money. I think a mid-range is a good enough investment. You don't need the expensive pencil to make something kind of nice. So yeah, that's what I had to say about those. Tell me in the comment section, like, did you expect the artwork to just look almost the same? Because I was kind of shocked, and they took me about the same time. I spent about an hour each. Using the high-hand pencil is actually a lot longer than the other one because they have more room to build the layering and everything, so it actually took a lot more time than expected. That was really fun to do this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then don't forget to give a thumbs up. And if you'd like me to do more side-by-side comparison for markers or watercolors, for example, then post a comment below, tell me what you would like to see. As I said, I would love to make more videos like that. And if you are interested, this artwork is actually available in my Etsy store. I will have both versions, so this is kind of special because usually I just have one original, but for this time around I will have two original because they both look kind of nice, and I really like also the style of artwork. I've tried to change it a bit from what I usually do. I think I covered what I had to say, so yeah, if you want to see more of my content, don't forget to subscribe. I post every weekend, and yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.